So good morning to everybody and especially to you, sir. So I am Maiden Runger, the reporter for today. So my part is to report to you about the learners with social emotional disorder, and there are six um, types under of this. But the first three is emotional behavioral disorder, anxiety attack, depression, and this is being discussed by Blanche Egline already. So my part is to discuss about obsessive compulsive disorder and bipolar disorder. So let's start with obsessive compulsive disorder. So obsessive compulsive disorder or OCD is a disorder in which people have recurring unwanted thoughts, ideas, or sensations, and that is obsession. That make them feel driven to do something repetitively, and that is compulsion. So obsessive compulsive disorder is that obsession or obsessive is that we already know that if we feel obsessive is that we tend to want something kanang gusto kay naantay gusto kaayo or obsessed na kaniya or kanang bisag dili na necessary sa kanang natural nga himuon, but because of the obsession sa pagka-feel mo nga obsessive kay ka, gusto kay mo siya bisag makasakit na ka or anything bas para lang makuha mo na siya nga thing or kanang gusto. Because of that obsessiveness, we try to make things repetitively because and that is compulsive because himuon nimo siya, balik-balikon nimo siya para lang makuha ta nimo imuhang things or person nga imong gika-obsess. Because obsessed kay kaniya, so you do things repetitively, and that is obsessive compulsive disorder. These two are interconnected to each other. So obsessive are recurrent and persistent thoughts, impulses, or image that cause distressing emotions such as anxiety or disgust. So, obsessive is kanang persistent thoughts daw, impulsion, image or image that cause distressing emotions such as anxiety or disgust. So, pwede siya maka mo og maka kuan nimo og anxiety, magka-anxiety ka or kanang distress emotion because of this obsessiveness. People with OCD recognize that the thoughts, impulses, or images are product of their mind and are excessive or unreasonable. However, the distress caused by these intrusive thoughts cannot be resolved by logic or reasoning. This they is the distress of obsession with compulsion, ignore or suppress the obsession or distract themselves with another activities. So this obsessiveness is a product of mind. Kanang gikan ra jud siya sa tong hunahuna, and this kind of mentality is not reasonable because yeah, dili man reasonable kay we tend to like things in unreason because this kind of mentality is just because of our mind. See, so they say it cannot be resolved by logic or reasoning. So it should be done by kanang act. Di siya pwede, example, explain na nimo siya, mao na dili na dapat nimo buhaton kay mao na that is not effective to the person who has obsessive disorder. So the right thing to do to ace that kind of disorder is to do an activity that kuan kanang repetitive activities nga kanang para mabag-o ilahang kuan mentality para ma-realize nila or something, and that is the compulsion. If the obsession is the problem, the compulsion is the answer. So the way of easing the problem. So say the ace that the stress of obsession with compulsion. So ang compulsion ang answer sa obsession. So there are typical obsession. They may feel fear of getting contaminated by people or the environment, fear of losing or discarding something important, fear of blurting out obscenities or insults, extreme concern with order, symmetry, or precision, recurrent intrusive thoughts of sounds, images, words, or numbers, disturbing sexual thoughts or images. So, basta ang obsession kay daghan kay siyang fear. Ang bata, example, ang bata mahadlok, makontaminate by people kanang arty kay sila, obsessed kay sila nga ma ma madaot sila or magkasakit sila, or example sa pag-eskwela nga ma-obsessed kay sila nga maubos ilang grado, so di want to kanang study hard kay para kuan bisag. So inana, obsessed kay nga magka-negative effect sila. So di want nga safe sila, o kanang positive permanently. So there appear to some genetic components with both identical twins or more effective than both of. So kuan daw ko ni siya kanang there appear to some genetic because of some genetic component with identical twins more often affected by both non-identical twins. So compulsive are repetitive behavior or mental acts that a person feels driven to perform in response to an obsession. Compulsion may be excessive response that are directly related to obsession, such as excessive hand washing due to the fear of contamination, or actions that are completely unrelated to the obsession. So, such as excessive hand washing due to the fear of contamination. So, example of children is fear niya ang mag-contaminate iyang hand, and that is obsession. Obsessed kay siya nga nga mataptan siya og germs sa iyang kamot, and he or she wash her hand repetitively in order to kanang dili siya ma-contaminate, and that is compulsion. So typical compulsion, so they feel excessive or ritualized hand washing, showering, brushing teeth, or toileting, repeated cleaning of household objects, ordering or arranging things in a particular way, repeatedly checking locks, switches, or appliances, constantly seeking approval or reassurance, repeated counting or to a certain number. So a person who has compulsion disorder is that they feel this mga typical nga mga buhaton nila mao ni ilang ginabuhat or something, repeated counting of certain number. So bisag nahumanan nila example na I things nga gipa-count tapos humanag count din balik ka na pod, repetitive. So example, constantly seeking approval or reassurance, example mananghid, but because of kanang naa pa siya doubt siguro, constant ka nang balik-balik og approval. Gusto nila inaana ilang sakit. So inaana ang ma-feel nila excessive and ritualized hand washing, showering, brushing teeth or toileting. So, according to international obsessive compulsive disorder foundation, the most effective treatment are a type of cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT called exposure and response prevention or EPR, which has the strongest evidence, and or a class medication called serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So, ang pinaka strongest evidence kana ay pinakakuan nga effective nga treatment with this kind of disorder daw is about their cognitive behavioral therapy, and this is called exposure and response prevention. This prevention. So by the name itself, exposure, so ang bata i-expose sa ani nga situation, and response prevention. So maybe they practice the children to put in this situation and response to that situation in order to kuan sa mga bata nga what is the right thing to do, what is unsay dili nila dapat buhaton, unsay dapat nila i-think in that certain situation. So according to the study of Chaturvedi et al. Entitled Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, What an Educator Needs to Know, teacher must create a classroom environment where students feel welcome, safe, accepted, and understood. So, so the teach, so the classroom with with children that has obsessive compulsive disorder needs to have an environment where they are welcome, safe, accepted, and understood. So they may do interdisciplinary collaboration, includes parents, teachers, and other employees such as school psychology or examiner, nurse, counselor, social worker, occupational therapist, and school administrator. So nauman ni sila ang mag-care sa bata, so dapat magkaisa sila sa pag kanang pag atiman o pag-care sa bata in the school and in their house, the parents. So next is the task initiation and completion. So teachers can address these problems by providing a predetermined cues to enable the student to get unstuck and to start or continue the work. So, task initiation. So, dapat ang bata is makafeel siya o kanang paghatagan nimo siya kanang eager siya ba, kanang eager siya nga mahuman niya nga task, makuan kanang mabuhat niya na nga sakto or something na. So, next is tardiness and attendance. Teacher should not penalize the student for tardiness, but should have a predetermined plan action for what will occur when the student arrives late or return after an absence. So, tardiness and attendance. So, the teacher should not penalize. So, if the students kanang example sa klase ma-feel nila nga kanang gikapoy na sila, tired na sila, or kanang laayan sila, because that is normal to them, kay na sila disorder, but dili nimo sila dapat pasakitan or pasakitag storya something nga kanang parusahan sila because ilan ang gibuhat. But dapat ikaw nga teacher mangita ka og kanang action or activities or plan nimo nga unsaon nimo pagka-distract ang ilahang pagkakanang laziness or tardiness, kanang magka-again sila og kanang gusto bitaw, eager nga do the activity. So pwede ka mag-activity nga group activity nga something nga dula-dula or kanang makakatch sa ilang attention para dili na nila ma-feel na nga feelings o eager sila nga makabalo. So, note taking and unwritten assignments. Teachers can address this particular challenges by allowing students to record or tape their answers. So, some students man kay kanang because of this disorder kay kanang late ilahang pag handwritten or ilang speaking something na. So in order kanang makatch sad ilang attention nga di lang sige perminti magsulat, so pwede maghimog laing kanang way ang teacher to cater para lang example mag tape recording recording is kanang fun man ang nila because madungog nila lang tingog and eager siguro ganahan sila, something like that. So time test and assignments. Teacher can allow students to work in a place where he or she feels comfortable and allow the students to incorporate breaks as needed. So sa mga bata nga disorder dili nila kaya ang kanang excessive nga bitaw nga walay pahuway nga kuan nga mga example activities, so they need some break. So example na kay activity dapat after sa activity na kay kuan something break sa kay para maka-rest sila para for the next session. So dapat ibutang nila allow nimo sila nga o diri ka kung diri ka feel comfortable para makaisip sila og kanang makaisip sila og tarong dayon maka-perform sila og maayo kung kay dira man sila comfortable nga magbuhat ana. So give them space nga kanang worst kanang feel nila nga dira sila ganahan nga comfortable sila. So class transition. Teacher can help students prepare for transition by providing advance notice and standing near the students when changes occur. So class transition, so example na karon ay example karon imong klase din ugma gusto for tomorrow's class gusto ka magpa-oral sila about sa ikuan kanang imong gi-discuss today. So karon pa lang daan is magkuan na ka kanang notice na nimo sila ikanang pahibal-on na nimo sila nga for tomorrow our class kanang we have oral recitation or something inana para ang mga bata is maka-prepare sila nga unsay buhaton or unsay i-react unsay i-answer nila unsay ilahang i-act in that certain situation kay para dili sila mabaguhan inani day ni siya dili sila ka-perform og tarong because nabaguhan sila sa situation. So inana, so example or and standing near the students when changes occur. So pananglitan nagbabasa ka sa bata, nagbabasa ka by syllables that and the next pagka next session is by kanang word na siya dapat by word na. So ang bata dili pa jud kay na siya kabalo ana, so dapat naa ka siyang tapad to kanang mo-guide sa iya nga mao ni ang right pronunciation, mao ni ang pagbasa, mao na something inana because lahi naman po na siya nga kuan kanang lahi na sad na siya nga situation ang ilang gi-face, dili na siya pareha sa iyang katong unang gibuhat na new so inana class transition. So next is mindfulness based intervention or MBI. Define mindfulness as the awareness that emerge through paying attention or on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally to the unfolding of experiences. So next is the bipolar disorder. So bipolar disorder is also known as manic depression. It is a mental illness that brings severe high and low moods and changes in sleep, energy, thinking, and behavior. Bipolar disorder is a neurobiological disorder with cycling periods of mania and depression that was historically recognized as occurring only in adulthood but can now be diagnosed in children. So bipolar, so all of us know what is bipolar disorder. So bipolar disorder kanang changes of emotion. Example, karon ganahan kay kana but pagkataon-taon ay di na ko ganahan ana. So ganina energetic ay ka karon wala na ka energy, lungkay na something ina na. Karon katulugan ka unya di na kaganahan matulog, something ina na. Mood switching, kanang instantly mood switching, that is bipolar disorder. So bipolar disorder, ang giingon dito, ang giingon high and it is a mental illness that brings severe high and low moods. So kanang maka-high kanang energy is example high moods kana, example excessive happiness, hopefulness and excitement, sudden changes of being joyful to being irritable, anger and hostile, restlessness, rapid speech and poor concentration, increased energy and less need for help, sleep, unusual high sex drive, making grand and unrealistic plans, showing poor judgment, drug and alcohol abuse, becoming more impulsive, less of an appetite, larger sense of self-confidence and well-being, being easily distracted. So, for the loss is that sadness, loss of energy, feeling of hopelessness or worthlessness, not enjoying things they once liked, trouble concentrating, forgetfulness, talking slowly, less of a sex drive, inability to feel pleasure, uncontrollably crying, trouble making decision, irritability, insomnia, attempting suicide, appetite changes that make you lose or gain weight, thought of death and suicide. So, this high and lows, kanang mo ni example, ang bata is naa siya sa high emotion. So, these samples of kanang ilang gipang buhat is mo ni ilang ma-feel. They have excessive happiness. But, pagkataod-taod, ma-lows na dayon. They may feel sadness, kanang walay excitement, kanang mura bitawg malos ilang kuan, ilang energy. Mura ika nga mood switching. So inana ang bipolar disorder. So bipolar disorder can be treated. It is a long-term condition that needs ongoing care. It can be treated by medication, psychotherapy, and others such as in electroconvulsive therapy and acupuncture and supplements. So na siya therapy is feeling para na therapy is kanang siya pinaka nindot nga kanang kuan kanang treatment because but we know nga mahal jud na siya pero wala pa koy nakita pod nga kanang kuan jud serious wala ko nakita nga kanang bata nga ay bipolar disorder. So, they can be treated daw by medication, psychotherapy, and such as others such as electroconvulsive therapy, acupuncture, and supplements. So, teaching strategy. So, the teacher must pwede niya ni buhaton to do this a strategy to cater the kuan para aware siya or makita niya ang children with bipolar disorder. So, flexibility. So, dapat flexible ka. Dapat ang teacher is kanang flexible to kanang di ba ang bata kay mo kalitra siya og mood switching. So, dapat aware ka, flexible ka nga o unsaon nimo ning ani nga situation o naglahi na siya. So unsaon na po nimo siya pag cater na sad nga naglahi naman iyang mood na sad. So inana. So tolerance and patience. So patience is the most important. So kung walay patience ang maestra, sus mura jud kag mabuang siguro og hinuhuna-huna sa imong mga bata, but well kanang ina na nga mga kan is usually naaman jud sila sa speed school. So ang teacher sa dira is gina-train sila sa inana nga mga situation, mga kind of kuan kanang mga bata nga nay inana nga mga disorder. So few distractions, good communication between school, parents, and doctor. So dapat na adjud mo yung kanang communication between the school, the parents, and the doctor, because ang parents mo na sila ang kauban sa bata in the sa balay. So dapat kabalo ka, dapat maayo ang pagkakuan, dapat kamo nga nasa iyang paligid is kanang magkaisa bitaw mo kung unsa inyong buhaton, unsa pinakamaayong buhaton in order to kanang makuan ang bata bisag panalitan in treatment na kanang unsaon niya matabangan bitaw sila in something like safe place. So safe place is very important para ma-feel sa bata ang comfortability. So and we know nga basta na ay inaana nga mga sakit isang bata kanang kuan jud kay siya kanang murag sensitive bitaw kayo. So dapat na is safe, maka-feel sila, comfortable sila. So according to Greer et al. 2007, and the study entitled Bipolar Disorder: Educational Implication for Secondary Students, school-based interventions for these students can include different levels of special education services, specific classroom modification, and direct services provided by the school counselor and psychology. So in so intervention, so that the students can include the different levels of special education services. So special education jud ang pinakamaayo sa mga bata nga naay disorder. So para bitaw ma-focus sila nga kay sila man tanan, example sila tanan sa isa ka classroom, mga inani ang pareha silang sakit. So they are the same. So ma-focus sa teacher nga mauni inana ra ang buhaton, dili ba pa kanang pa example blended mga public school na example na ay public school din na ay parents kan dili ka afford sa ilang bata nga kanang na ay disorder nga then gipa eskwela ra dito. So the teacher kay nang mag-cater pa siya ato nga ay disorder. Syempre ang na disorder og sa walay disorder is lahi ra kay siya din. Para nako dili safe place ang blended paano na gi-blend sila, because dili jud malikayan nga mabuli ang katong na disorder. So pagkaisahan something inana, so dili siya kanang ma-treat dira inana nga kuan nga place kay kanang feeling niya dili siya kanang accepted, because dili I know we know dili jud tanang basta mga bata na jud mga kuan. So students who have less severe symptoms but who show limited academic progress because of BD may benefit from a section 504 plan, which might include specific classroom accommodation and school-based counseling. So certain symptoms of bipolar disorder lend themselves to specific interventions. Students who have attention problems may benefit from preferential seating, frequent breaks, and organizational aids. So inana. Pag severe symptoms but show limited academic progress because of bipolar, ma-benefit nila ang maayo sa ilaha ang include specific includes specific classroom accommodation and school-based counseling. Kung ang bata naman na ay certain symptoms of a specific interest, students who have attention problem, mag-benefit sila sa preferential seating, frequent breaks, and organizational aids. So, school staff members should become familiar with the potential of side effects of the psychotropic medication that are used to treat bipolar disorder. So, school administrator Cairo, in consulting with other members of the students' treatment team on an ongoing basis, consultation with the family of the students with bipolar disorder involves supporting the family and providing information regarding school services for the students. So, dapat inana both team kay supportive mo sa treatment, supportive sa pag-eskwela, supportive dapat na adjud mo ka ng patience sa pag-alaga sa inyong sa students ug sa kanang inyong anak for the parents. So, despite all these challenges, a student with bipolar disorder can succeed in classroom with right support and accommodation. So, whatever you have, so bisan pag kay kanang bisan pag daghan pa kay kag disorder diha, but kung naay kanang right support sa parents, naay good kanang safe place, kung sa eskwelahan sad na kay kuan nga teacher, kanang supportive teacher, caring teacher, bisan pag kuan na kay moral support, lala pa kay na, but with the help of the people that naglove sa imuha, nag-care sa imuha, mabag-o ka, kanang matreat ka. So, that's all about my report. I hope you understand what I am talking. So, again, I am Maiden Romaguer, and thank you for